And then,
It's like Renee's in a row.
Good morning.
good morning, good morning. That's right. So I just give a general morning then. Everyone. Okay, so we have foam roller and cake.
These will set up for anyone.
That's for you.
That's what you made on us here.
I see that Cluster is in a very comfortable position. So if you, as well, if you are already on the roller, you can stay where you are. If you're not, you're going to sit on the edge of the roller the same way I am. And we're going to not judge ourselves too much, but we're going to use a little bit of spinal articulation to get onto our back. So, yes. In. We're going to bring our feet foam roller distance apart. Conveniently, you have a foam roller that you can double check that with. And then maybe you want to take your hands behind the back of your thigh bones this morning. And you can start to exhale. Just let the tailbone come underneath you. Feel heavy through the feet. Be okay with that little perturbation of the roller as you go down. Plunk. And then end up with your head, neck and shoulders relaxed onto the roller. So for some of us, when we get down here, we might need to shuffle around a little bit. Most of us probably need to hug the back of our rib cage and walk the back of our rib cage up the mat. You will need one, Mary. Yeah. So that you've got as much space through the back of the spine and the back of the rib cage as possible. No problem. So you are forgiven. Oh my goodness, for the worst. Come late and leave early. I know. Jesus. Minus points for you.
I like public shaming, is there?
Next we'll be throwing stones. Don't be late to my class, or
Well, foam rollers anyway, maybe not stones.
So many of us have sneakily crept our feet significantly wider than the foam roller. If you could bring them narrow again, that's better. And then you can reach your fingertips up towards the sky. We'll just do a little bit of shoulder blade movement while we're here. Inhale as you reach the fingers up towards the ceiling, and then exhale as you let the shoulder blades drop back down around the foam roller. Good. So you can do this movement in two ways. Sometimes when we're exaggerating it, if we've been publicly shamed and we're stressed, we're inhaling and using our pecs and the front of our chest to pull our arms towards the sky. I'm hoping we can settle down into a movement that is a little bit more like an inhale, send air into the back of the lungs, and draw the hands towards the sky by using the back of the shoulder blades. Exhale as you let them fall back down around the roller. Inhale, air into the back of the lungs, work through the back of the shoulder blades. Exhale as you draw them back down around the roller. So that it starts to become a movement that feels less like your pecs, your neck, your chest are pulling your arms up towards the sky, and more like you're facilitating the arms to come up. Actually, bring you right in there again. All right, similar idea, slightly different angulation. We're going to inhale, hands reach overhead, palms face towards the sky. Exhale as you press the hands down towards the mat. Use the palms of the hands to touch the bases of the mat. Inhale, hands reach up and overhead behind you. Exhale, press with the palms of the hands down towards the feet. Now using that same idea, inhale, let the air in the side of the ribcage and the sides of the armpits help to float the hands overhead. And then exhale, a little bit of core connection, as if your core and your lower tummy were drawing the hands back towards the feet. Inhale, hands reach overhead. Exhale as you press them down towards the toes. So again, we're trying to let the breath and the air into the side of the ribcage help to move the arms, more so than pulling the arms forward and backwards with all the muscles around the neck and the shoulders. Last one here. All right. hoping we've had coffee this morning. So we're going to inhale, interlace the hands behind the back of the head. Think of your feet as though they were heavy anchors in towards the mat. And then ever so slightly on your exhale, you're going to send your right elbow down towards the floor and start to rotate the spine over to the right-hand side of the foam roller. So maybe the elbow can touch the mat. Good job. Exhale as you bring yourself back through center. Inhale as you allow the left elbow to come down, rotate the spine, touch the floor perhaps. Exhale as you come back through center. Good job. Inhale, traveling to the right. Want you to imagine as though you were on a rotisserie. So your foam roller is like the big metal rod on the rotisserie, and as you inhale, rolling the top of the torso, the head, neck and shoulders maybe into the rib cage, and then exhale as you draw it back through center. Paying attention to the difference in rotation left to right, if you've got them, and all the while doing your best to keep heavy weight-bearing feet. So what you might start to notice is as you take the weight over to the left-hand side, you start to lose a bit of connection through the right foot. Your job is to think about that opposite foot as you inhale and let your body rotate towards the mat. You want to stay heavy and connected into the opposite leg. Don't let that connection get lost across the sides of the body. Nicely done. And then you can let yourself come all the way back to center. Undo the fingers, let them relax down by your side. We're going to take our first bridge on the foam roller this morning. Exhale as you start to unravel through the pelvis. Begin to peel vertebrae by vertebrae as you travel all the way up into long, limbed bridging. Nice. Hang out here at the top for a couple of breaths. You want to try and find length through the legs. Almost a heaviness and a slight backward tension through the heels. And then just notice where you're resting on the foam roller. So in between the shoulder blades, you should feel like there's gravity connecting the back of the sternum down towards the foam roller. But what I don't want is the shoulder blades feeling like they're bracing you on the foam roller. So the arms are heavy, the front of the collarbones are long and wide, and the sense of connection and support is through the hamstrings and the glutes, and maybe a little bit of the lower tummy. Inhale here, air into the back and side of the rib cage. And as you exhale, start from the back of the throat. You're going to return the back of the throat to the foam roller, then the back of the neck to the foam roller, the middle back behind the back of the sternum, and then the lower back of the pelvis can come down last. Inhale at the bottom, exhale as you start to scoop up. So you can do these bridges at your own pace. I'm just going to talk you through the things that we're focused on. Inhaling when you get to the top. Watch that the collarbones are long and the hands are relaxed. And then use the legs and the hamstrings to, on purpose, create traction through the spine, as though you're trying to reach your knees out the front of the studio more than you're trying to roll the spine. The spine's going to articulate and move freely as you connect through the hamstrings and the glutes and the core. Exhale as you start to roll the spine up. Inhale as you get to the top. Exhale, use that traction from the legs as you unravel the spine on the way back down. Last one here. Exhale as you get to the top. Take a nice deep inhale when you're at the top of that bridge. Fill the back and sides of your ribcage with air. And then purposeful exhale as you unravel the spine, replacing each little vertebrae back down into the foam roller. Alright, once again we inhale, reach the hands towards the ceiling. And then ever so slightly we're going to take our bodies over to the left-hand side of the foam roller as we inhale, pick up the right leg. Beautiful. Exhale, return the right leg back down into the mat. Take your body slightly to the right-hand side of the foam roller as you inhale, pick up the left leg. Exhale, return the leg. So as you're picking up the opposite leg, there is a little bit of your body moving to the other side of the foam roller. The foam roller is not staying completely stationary. If you thought of your spine, it's as though we start with our spine in the middle of the foam roller, and then as we pick up our left leg, our spine comes a centimetre or two over to the right side of the roller. It comes back to centre as we return our leg, and then it goes to the other side as we pick up the right leg. And then it comes back to centre as we return the leg. And then as you start to get a feeling of control and connection here, you can speed this up. So it almost becomes like running, where there's like a fly phase in the middle of this movement, where there's second where neither feet are touching the foam roller, and you're almost just buoyantly floating from the left side to the right side, to the left side, to the right side. The more you let that movement flow, the easier it is. If you try and hold on and control every single element of it, it usually feels a bit bracy and things start to go AWOL from it. I sometimes think of myself as though I was an earthquake-proof building in these kind of flow movements. So when they build a building that they don't want collapsing at the next earthquake, they're building it with a little bit of flex, which means that it's got some ability to withstand perturbation. It's not rigid and stuck really in space. Well done, guys. Actually fantastic. This is kind of the same feeling when we do quadruped and we do same arm and same leg. Same analogy applies. So sometimes I know that's been something we've practiced where it feels like, oh gosh, I can't lift the same arm and the same leg. If you start to get into a little bit of a flow with that movement, you'll find that actually your core and some of those muscles that cross both sides of the body get to actually play with each other in a bit more flow. That's excellent work. When you're ready, you can ground both feet back towards the mat. I'm going to try and keep that same idea of flow as we inhale, hands reach overhead. Exhale, paint the fingertips across the ceiling. Inhale, head, neck and shoulders curl up. And then you can use the back of your legs as you exhale and start to draw yourself up to tall sitting on the foam roller. Don't worry about the little bum wiggles. We're going with flow. Inhale at the top. Exhale as we tuck under from the tailbone. Now, all the things we've talked about in the last couple of weeks, we're going to use here. So there's a letting of the spine drop into flexion, and that sometimes takes time. Inhale, head, neck and shoulders come down, hands reach overhead. Exhale, they paint across the ceiling. Inhale, the head, neck and shoulders curl up. Exhale, maybe you use the back of the legs to help you. So taking the time for flexion means that on the way down, as you exhale, you let your organs drop into the back of your lumbar spine, you let your stomach, your liver, your kidneys, and it's almost as though you're observing that flexion happening rather than forcing the flexion to happen. And if you take your time and observe it, you'll actually feel inhale, hands travel overhead. Exhale, hands paint back across the ceiling. Inhale, head, neck and shoulders. Exhale the rest of the spine. You'll feel deeper core work. So it's a funny piece. Sometimes less is more. 2 more. Exhale, we start to go into flexion. Just observe what's happening. Give your spine the time to flex. Don't try to overdo the abdominal work. Just notice as I let all of my organs drop into my back and I just move with flow and fluidity, maybe I notice that there's a little bit more deep system work happening, and because of that I can move with a little bit more freedom. Good, last one here. Inhale at the top. All right, just pop your bottom off the foam roller and turn your foam roller horizontally so that it's crossways across the mat. Now, if this roll down is something that you're still working on, it's easier to bring the foam roller right up close to your bottom. For most of you, you have excellent spinal articulation, so I'm going to encourage you to have the foam roller somewhere where as you come down, it's roughly going to come to the middle of your rib cage, roughly. You can play around with it as you go along. Exhale, we start to let the spine travel into flexion. Again, we're not forcing, we're just observing. We're noticing the organs drop into the back of the rib cage. We're noticing the lower back start to flex. And then we're going to get to a point where the back of our shoulder blades should be resting on the foam roller. Class, so this is the point we talked about in that full roll down last week, where I said you need to get more mobility in the back of your rib cage. You can inhale, head, neck and shoulders travel over the roller. Exhale, head, neck and shoulders travel back up. So we're going to pause and do a couple down here. Inhale, head, neck and shoulders travel over the back of the roller. Exhale, head, neck and shoulders curl up. So with the foam roller in this place, you're really blocking the movement through the lower part of the spine, and you're focusing on spinal articulation through the top, maybe 1/3 or 2/3 of the spine. So as you're visualizing this extension, you want to think each little vertebrae is opening into extension over the back of the roller, right the way into the back of the neck and the throat. And then as you exhale, you restack that movement, starting from the back of the neck and the throat, letting that spinal flexion travel all the way down, roughly to the base of the belly button. Good job. Inhale as you travel over. Exhale as you start the flexion, rolling the neck, the rib cage, and the sternum to come back up. We'll do 2 or 3 more here. I'll leave it up to you. If you feel like the roll is in a good place, you can leave it where it is. If you feel like there's parts of your thoracic spine that need more encouragement, you can shuffle the roller up or down depending on where it feels like you need it the most. The other thing that I will occasionally play with when I'm working on the top of my spine is how much my eyes impact my movement. So we're getting a bit Terminator here. If you could picture for me as though you had laser beams coming out of your eyeballs. As you start to travel back into extension, I want you to trace your laser beams across the ceiling. They end up behind you. And then as you exhale to curl back up, trace your laser beams smoothly across the roof, and they should end up back out the front of the studio. So there's a really big connection between that orbital movement, the way we use our eyes, and how we're able to create neck or cervical extension. So sometimes closing the eyes works also, but sometimes getting the eyes to move smoothly with the rest of the head, neck and shoulders. This looks much better, you guys. Gives you a better spinal articulation through the top of the body and stops us from almost gripping with our eyes and locking down some of the segments in our spine from being able to flex and extend. All right, we're gonna come off the foam roller for this next one. So inhale, hands reach up and overhead. And then like you would as though you're coming up from the floor, we're going to exhale, start to curl vertebrae by vertebrae by vertebrae by vertebrae. Your laser beam eyes are now going to look down towards your pubic bone. Inhale as you restack the spine, laser beam eyes go straight out the front. Exhale as you let the spine travel into flexion. Take time here, let your organs drop into the back of the rib cage. You're going to find your foam roller. You're going to inhale over the back of the foam roller, hands included. And then you're going to exhale, head, neck and shoulders start to curl up. And then the rest of the spine will bring you as well. So you can play around with how high or low you want the foam roller. Inhale as you get to the top. Exhale, feel the tailbone tucking underneath you. Let the lumbar spine take time to drop back towards the mat. Inhale, hands travel all the way overhead. Enjoy that thoracic extension. Exhale as the rest of the spine starts to travel up. Good. So you can use hands, don't need hands. Let your spine feel like it's in control this morning. All right, if we're happy to move on, we're going to straighten the legs. Same movement. Exhale, we tuck under from the back of the tailbone. We let the lumbar spine take its time to roll down into flexion. We find the foam roller with the back of our rib cage. We inhale, head, neck and shoulders go back into extension. Exhale, hands paint across the ceiling. Inhale, head, neck and shoulders. Exhale, the rest of the spine starts to come with you. Good, just move your foam roller out to the side. Last 2. Exhale, spine rolls down. Take your time, let the back of your lower back drop down into the mat. Let it take its time. Find the rest of the head, neck and shoulders. So Klasse, I'm hoping that as you exhale, hands across the ceiling, inhale, head, neck and shoulders, exhale the rest of the spine. You can find, oh my God, yes! You can find those pieces of your middle thoracic that didn't previously move. Last one, exhale, tuck under from the pelvis, find length through the back of the spine, as though I was laying you on a tablecloth and I'm pulling the tablecloth out from underneath you, trying to stretch the back of your t-shirt long. Inhale, exhale, hands paint across the ceiling. Inhale, head, neck and shoulders. Exhale, the rest of the spine. That is amazing, you guys are fantastic. All right, isn't it good when you master something, we can move on. You can cross your hands and knees underneath you and come onto all fours for me. Have your foam roller beside you. We're going to go into a little bit of thread the needle. You face this way, Jen. You're human. That's it. So if you haven't already, just tip out of your legs and make sure the fronts of your shins are soft and relaxed towards the mat. And then we're going to inhale. First of all, our foam roller should be on the right-hand side. Yes. We're going to inhale, let our left fingertips brush the side of our rib cage. So I'm going to get you to pause here because sometimes we do all sorts of weird things in this position. So as you're quadrupeding and your left fingertips are literally opening the left side of your rib cage, I want you to still feel there's a lot of pressure through your right hand and both knees. So sometimes what happens when we rotate here is all our awareness goes into the rotation and we start thinking about weird stuff coming up here in the left elbow and we forget that the rest of our body is still grounding us, or should be grounding us, in towards the mat. So most of this is thinking about pressing down towards the floor, more so than how high can I reach up with my left elbow. Good. Then from here we're going to exhale, thread the left hand underneath us, start to find the foam roller, then the right elbow and the left ear will come down towards the mat. Nice. Now pause here. Same thing happens often. When you're down in this stretch, we forget that the back of our legs are supposed to be heavy towards the mat, and we're supposed to be connecting our shins and our knees and our thigh bones and sticking our butt bones out the back. Nice. Inhale. Exhale, start to bring yourself back. Let the left hand slide across the ribcage. Left elbow goes towards the sky, but most of this awareness is about what's going on through the right side of the body. We're connecting into the right hand, we're connecting down into the legs. Exhale, thread the left hand underneath you. Thread the needle, bend the right elbow, let the left ear come towards the floor. Keep the feet, especially the left foot, heavy into the mat. Good. Inhale, open up towards the white wall. Left fingertips brush the side of the ribcage. Exhale, thread the needle. Bend the right elbow. Let the left ear come towards the mat. Good job. Inhale, left fingertips brush the ribcage. Fill the left side of the lungs with air as you inhale, but keep grounding through all other limbs. Exhale, like you're squeezing the air out of your ribcage, bringing out a sponge. You can let that left ear come all the way down towards the floor. Nice. Okay, same movement, just a little faster. Inhale. The air brings you up through the left-hand side of the ribcage. Exhale. You twist the air out of your lungs. Inhale. You lift up through the ribcage. Exhale. You bring the air out of the lungs. Inhale. Exhale. Well done. Last three. So even though we're inhaling and exhaling, we're keeping heavy into our grounded limbs. So there's a sense of connection into the mat, and it's that connection and stable base that lets you rotate the rib cage because you've got something to pull against. Done. And then you can exhale, left hand comes back towards the floor. Just pop your foam roller over to the other side. That was possibly the best thread the needle I think I'd ever seen from a group of people. Well done. All right, same thing on the other side. So we're going to now use our right fingertips and let them brush the right side of our rib cage and hang out here for a second. So in this position, you want to check, are my feet still heavy into the mat? Can I feel my knees and my left hand? And my knees and my left hand should be pulling the mat on an angle so that there's no wrinkles in my Glad wrap mat. And it's from that heavy base that I allow the rest of my rib cage to rotate. Then as I exhale, I send my right hand underneath me and I start to bring my right ear down towards the mat. And I watch that my right toes, thank you, Michelle, haven't done some crazy sneaky thing and started to peel away from the floor. Good. I inhale, air into my right lungs, right fingertips brush my rib cage, but I stay heavy and grounded through the rest of my limbs. Exhale, I thread the needle with my right hand and I bring my right ear down towards the mat and I keep my right foot and shin heavy. Inhale, air into the right lungs, heavy base of support, air into the side of the rib cage. Exhale, right ear travels down. Well done. All right, a little faster. Inhale, lungs open. Exhale, bring the air out of the spine. Inhale, lungs open. Exhale, bring the air out of the spine. Good job. Inhale, exhale. So even though we're inhaling and exhaling, we're still using the rest of our limbs to go heavy and give us a grounded base of support to make our thoracic rotation a little easier. Fantastic work, you guys. Well done. Good job. Last one here. And then you can exhale, bring the right hand down towards the mat. Okay. All of this amazing thoracic mobility we have created, we are going to use, Elizabeth is going to be so excited. We're going to tuck our toes, we are going to hover our knees, and we're going to find the longest version of our pubic bone to sternum that we can. So it's like I had a hook on your sternum pulling out through the crown of your head, and a hook on your pubic bone pulling down behind the back of your legs. And then from here, we're gonna hitch the hips and send the bottom up towards the sky. And we're gonna pedal the feet if we need to, so that we can keep that sense of length through the rest of the body. So my sternum is still hanging low between my head, and my pubic bone is still reaching high between my legs. And if I had a foam roller on your back, the foam roller would be flat and long and open. There we go. Some of us need to put sky hooks on our butt bones and pull those butts up towards the sky. Yes. All right, we're gonna walk our hands for 4 steps back towards our feet. For 3, 2, 1. Hang out here for a nice little thoracic lumbar spine traction. And then as we exhale, we're gonna walk ourselves for a count of 4 back into long plank this time. 2, 3, 4. Good. Bring yourself all the way down into long plank so the head is reaching forward. Come with me.
I'm just scared of getting dizzy.
Okay, so let me pull you with me.
But it feels good.
Length for dizziness. Michelle, you're going to have a gold star for that plank. That is one of the nicest planks I've seen you do. Shall I just keep talking while we're all coming out of this plank?
Yes.
Stop, enjoy it. That's it. Unifying length through the sternum and the there we go. Alright, now with long legs this time, we're going to exhale, send the bottom up towards the ceiling. Pause here. Reach the sit bones up and out of the hips and pelvis. And if that means you need to bend the knees a fraction, that is okay. And then we have 4 walks of the hands back. How are you going towards the feet? 4, 3, 2. Good job. 1. Hang here. Take a couple of breaths. If you bend the knees a lot, you'll feel as though you can let the lower back relax and create space. Good job. All right. 4 walks back to plank. 4, 3, 2, 1. Finding that longest version of plank that you can. So there's real length coming out the front of the sternum. That's it. But at the same time, there's pressure going into the back of the heels. So you're working the heels back towards the wall, but that's juxtaposed, good word, Lana, with the front of the sternum reaching forward. One last breath here. And then as you exhale, we're going to send the hips up towards the sky. Again, bend the knees if you feel like you want to, so you can give me the longest version of your spine possible. And then we take 4 walks back towards the feet. 3, 2, 1. Good. Hang out here for a breath or 2. Allow the head, neck, and shoulders to relax. Bend the knees a lot if that helps you to create a little bit more space through the lower back. All right, final one. Exhale. We walk for 4, 3, 2, 1. Well done. All right, we're traveling ourselves into a side plank. So we're going to rotate to the right-hand side of our pinky foot and the inside of the left big toe. So our left hand starts to peel up towards the sky. This idea of length through the sternum is still important now. So just because we're in side plank, we don't want to have our eyes looking down towards our feet. We still want to feel as though our sternum and our pubic bone are long. All right, we can exhale, take that hand underneath as we come back to long plank. Reach long through the sternum, long through the pubic bone. And then we go to the knife blade edges of the other foot, peel our right hand up, and find that same sense of length through the sternum and the pubic bone. Guys, it's amazing. Exhale as you take that hand back underneath you. Find length in your plank first, so you're pressing out through the back of the feet, growing long through the front of the sternum. Rotate, letting the left hand come up towards the sky. Keeping that length through the sternum and the pubic bone. Exhale as we send that hand back underneath us. Pause in your plank for a tick to find length. And then last time you can turn so the right hand comes up towards the ceiling. Length between the pubic bone and the sternum. Reach through the right hand. Exhale, you can come back through plank for a half millisecond, bend both knees, and then you can take yourself back into child's pose just for a tick. Guys, the length in this spine is amazing. Amazing, amazing. Couple of nice breaths in here. So you can choose, some of you've got your hands short, which is okay. If you can, my preference would be your hands go long, because I'm trying to encourage as much neural stretching here as I possibly can. So when you do child's pose with your hands out in front of you, you should get more of a sense that you can have length through the armpits, length through the waist, length through even the fingertips and the wrists. Hold on. And then we're going to roll ourselves flat onto the mat on our tummies. So if you've got your foam roller close by, you want it up in front of the torso this time. Arms out straight and my foam roller. Hands off. And then forehead down towards the mat. So you need a position here where you've got enough room in the foam roller that you can start to bring it towards you. So if it's too far underneath your fingertips, you're not going to have much roll. Probably want it to start about mid forearms, if not wrist. Better. Okay, you need the longest version of your sternum and pubic bone again. So you could wriggle your pelvis along the back of the mat so that you can feel the front of your pubic bone, your belly button, your sternum, your chin, and even your nose all being pulled away from one another. And then with the elbows staying straight, we're going to inhale as the foam roller comes back towards you. Head stays down. Exhale as you roll the foam roller away from you. Tiny, tiny, like 2 or 3 centimeters. Inhale, foam roller comes towards you. Exhale, foam roller travels away from you. So you want to be able to feel that slide and glide of the shoulder blades as much as possible. Hopefully at this point the head, neck and shoulders are staying down towards the mat. So as you inhale and the foam roller comes towards you, the shoulder blades glide down the back of the body. As you exhale, the foam roller goes away from you and the shoulder blades glide up towards the ears. It's hard. If you feel like there's a lot of shoulder blade pinching, you can let the elbows bend a fraction. That will give you more range into the back of the scapula. But don't let that move your spine into extension. So your head should still be staying towards the mat. Nice. I like to think of my rib cage a little bit as though it was the dough and the foam roller as the rolling pin. And we're doing our best to knead the knots out of the dough. I'm going to get you to do 2 or 3 more. And if you can think of that same idea where less is more, so we don't need the foam roller to be moving crazy, crazy far. In fact, if you really try and move it, you're going to start to feel pinchy through the head, neck and shoulders. You almost want to let your shoulder blades move at the same pace as your breath. So as you inhale, air comes into the rib cage and it takes the shoulder blades down the back of the body, not that far. Exhale, air comes out of the rib cage and the shoulder blades move ahead. Nice. Now we're talking. Okay, you can press yourself all the way back to child's pose from here. Leave your foam roller where it is. You can put the foam roller underneath the hips independently. If anyone else feels like their hips and knees are pinchy in this position. 1 or 2 breaths. Yeah. Still trying to create as much space as you can through the rib cage and the arms and the sternum. And then as you exhale, let's bring ourselves back up onto our hands and knees. And find our quadruped one more time. So we want to pitter-patter the back of our legs out. So we're going to take this whole series, which we've practiced really nicely for the last couple of weeks, and we're going to add a few little side plank additions in. So you stay or come with me at the range that feels good, and you can drop back if it feels like this is getting a little bit crazy. All right, so we're going to kick our right leg out behind us. So we're making a perpendicular angle to the mat, and we're going to slide our left leg along the floor and open our left hand towards the sky. So very quickly in this position, you should feel like your right butt cheeks are doing a lot of work. Because we haven't prepped this the same way we previously had, I'm going to get you to sink down into your right hip a couple of centimeters and then squeeze your right butt cheek to bring the pelvis back up towards the sky. So we sink down into the right hip a little bit and then we squeeze the right hip to come back up with our pelvis lifted. Inhale, drop down a fraction. Exhale, squeeze the right hip up towards the sky. Inhale, drop down a fraction. Exhale, squeeze the right hip towards the sky. So that should give you enough awareness that that right hip is what's helping to keep you lifted. And you should feel long and heavy through the right shin because that right leg is grounding you towards the mat. All right, from here we inhale, float the left leg towards the sky, but it's lifted by the right hip. Exhale as it rolls back down. Inhale, float the left leg, being driven by that underneath glute. Exhale as you roll back down, last 3. Inhale, float. So it's less about the left leg pulling itself towards the ceiling, and it's more about the right hip gliding the leg up towards the sky. That was my 3, wasn't it? All right, pause here. I'm going to take our right leg underneath us so that we're stepping back out into side plank by threading the right leg. Now, all these cool things we did in Thread the Needle, we're going to do here. So our left fingertips glide underneath the right armpit, and we feel our rib cage wrapping towards the black wall. We inhale, open the rib cage back towards the white wall. Exhale, take the fingertips and physically push your rib cage back towards the black wall. Inhale as you open the rib cage back towards the right. You have 2 more. Thread the needle, take the hands underneath the rib cage. Inhale, fill the lungs with air as you come back to the ceiling. Last one. Exhale, thread the hands underneath the rib cage. Guys, well done. Inhale as you bring yourself back towards the right wall, and you can cartwheel your hands over onto your hands and knees. Good job. You can take a little pitter patter of the legs. I'm just going to show you something briefly before we do the other side. So this is really nice. We have got good connection through that hip, and everybody's doing a pretty good job lifting that underneath pelvis. As you thread your hand underneath you, you want to help your rib cage realize that it has to go this way, and it's coming up and underneath the back of your shoulder blade. So when you're feeling like, oh, it's in my wrist or my head or my neck, it's because your rib cage is not pushing the floor away. So this hand coming underneath you is to help you realize these ribs have got to come up and stay connected underneath the shoulder blade. So if you're down here, it's going to feel shitty. You need to be up here. Okay? All right, that's enough talk. Let's do the other side. So we've got our left foot kicking underneath us. We've got our right leg sliding along the mat, and our right hand is coming up towards the sky. Okay, we're going to do a few of those little preps where we bend into the left knee and the left hip, and we squeeze the left hip and butt to travel back up to that side plank. We drop down into the left hip, we squeeze the left hip as we come towards the sky. Got 2 or 3 more. Your left shin and left foot should be as flat and connected as possible towards the mat. All right, we're going to lift that right leg. As we exhale, right leg floats, but it floats because the left hip is drawing us up towards the ceiling. Exhale, float, riding it up from the left hip. Guys, done. Last one. Exhale, float, because that left hip drives you up. Okay, let's take that left leg underneath us and come out into long plank, and make sure that left butt is still keeping us long and lifted. When you're ready, we're going to exhale, thread the right hands underneath us, use them along your rib cage to keep those ribs into the back of the shoulder blade. Exhale as you open back towards the sky. Well done! Last 3, thread the right hand underneath the armpit, let that rib cage come back underneath you. Amazing. Last one, thread the rib cage underneath you, let the rib cage come back towards the black wall. Maybe one more good one, you guys can take this. Let the rib cage come back underneath you, and then you can cartwheel yourself back onto your hands and knees and press yourself back to child's pose. That looked 1,000 times better than the other side. We had lots more underneath rib cage support, not so much crazy hanging in the head, neck and shoulders. Give yourself a little mental pat on the back because you're doing an excellent job with that. Nice deep breath into the back and side of the lungs. Often think of myself like a pregnant cat in this position. Just going to let your tummy relax through the center of your thigh bones. This gravity really should be helping us just create a little bit of extra space here. Nice deep inhale. And you can exhale and start to bring yourself all the way up into tall kneeling from here. I'm going to steal your foam roller just for the tip, but I'll give it back to you. So we're going to take a play with a variation of kneeling cat now. So the foam roller is close towards you. You know what I'm going to say about your toes. It's common for things to start doing crazy stuff here. So our toes are not involved. It's our hamstrings, glutes, and core. So I don't want to see that. I want to see that. And I'm going to roll the spine down the front of the torso. Let the hands come to the foam roller. And then same thing we said with the lower back. You want to let your spine take its time to articulate all the way out into that long variation. Hopefully you don't have a ponytail like me, because that's problematic. Danger, danger! Exhale as you start to let the spine roll all the way back up again, and then you can leave the foam roller where it is. Yes, ponytails beware. Alright, spine cascades down the front of your torso. Hands will naturally come to the foam roller. Inhale when you get to the bottom, and find me that long version of the spine once again, where your sternum is reaching forward and your pubic bone is reaching back, but watch that your toes are not gripping the mat. Yes. And then as you exhale, tuck under from the tailbone, heavy through the front of the shins. Let your hamstrings, glutes and core work like a symphony to roll the spine vertebrae by vertebrae back into tall kneeling. Exhale, spine travels down the front of the torso. Let the vertebrae cascade down the front of the body. Relax the toes and the shins so that the work is being done through the core, the hamstrings and the glutes. Inhale when you get to the bottom. When you're at the bottom, just pause here. We have some interesting variations of hips. So our sit bones should be up towards the sky. Yes, so that your hips are over the top of your knees. The less that you're letting your hips be over the top of the knees, the more you're not using your core. Good. Inhale. Exhale, start to restack the spine. Now this is hard, but ideally the hips stay on top of the knees and you just let the pelvis move over the top of the thigh bones, and then the rest of the spine stacks up. Inhale. Exhale, spine cascades down the front of the body. The thigh bones stay perpendicular to the mat. The pelvis comes up and over the top of the hips as the rest of the spine travels forward. That is better. Harder, but better. Exhale as you start to restack the spine. Let the hips and the pelvis come up underneath you and allow the spine to travel back on top of itself. Loads better. All right, it's definitely coffee time. So this time as you exhale and roll forward, we're going to look underneath our armpit. So we're going to send our right palm down, our left palm up, and we're going to look underneath the right armpit. Same movement, but our head is going to go towards the right armpit. Okay, exhale, we cascade the spine down the front of the body. Right palm down, left palm up when you hit the roller, and as you articulate the spine, look underneath the right armpit. Woot, 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 woot. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, start to restack the spine. Let the pelvis once again roll back up on top of the hips, and then the rest of the spine stacks up from here. We're going the other way this time. Exhale, spine cascades down the front of the body, left palm down, right palm up, and we look underneath the left armpit. Hey, hey, inhale. Exhale, restack the body. Let the pelvis roll up and over the top of the thigh bones. Amazing work, you guys. We'll do one more outside. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, spine cascades down the front of the body. Right hand down, left palm up. Look underneath the right armpit. Inhale at the bottom. Check that left foot particularly is still flat to the floor. Exhale, restack the spine. Let the pelvis come up and over the top of the hips. Inhale as you grow tall at the top. Exhale, cascade down the front of the body. This time, left palm down, right palm up, looking under the left armpit. Michelle just likes to mess with me. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale as you start to restack the spine. Good. Stay in this tall kneeling position and keep your foam roller close by. We're going to take a little bit of thigh stretch, but we'll use the weight of the foam roller to make this easier. So as you inhale, we're going to travel the torso back. No worries. See you later. And then pause here and just use your foam roller to check. Are you in a nice flat spine? So ideally pubic bone, sternum, nose roughly are along the front of your torso. And then you can exhale and drive yourself forward. Inhale, traveling back. Think of that foam roller lying across the front of your body. Exhale as you use the core, the quads and the glutes to travel backwards. Inhale, find length. Exhale, drive through the front of the body. Good. The most common thing that's going to happen as you start to find depth here is you lose the core and you end up in that big spine extension. So you always want to think about as you're inhaling and traveling backwards, like you're growing long out the crown of your head. So you can keep a long torso in line with the back of the foam roller. Last two. Inhale as you travel backwards, length across the front body. Hey! Exhale as you drive forward. Very nice. Last one. Inhale. Length across the front body. Exhale as you drive forward. Bellissimo. All right, take your foam roller down in front of the mat. And we're gonna be still on our hands and knees, but just with your forearms in towards the foam roller. Little bit of shoulder girdle dissociation. So you're gonna inhale, roll the foam roller forward, and exhale, pull the foam roller back. Inhale, roll the foam roller forward. Exhale, pull the foam roller back. You know that I'm coming around to be on the foot pedal. So the foam roller does not have to go very far. This is similar to when we were lying on our tummy and we were trying to do the foam roller an inch forward and the foam roller an inch back. The most common thing that goes astray is that you get this movement happening through the hips. So less movement is better, providing that the hips stay over the top of the knees. So you really, as if I put a fulcrum through your shoulder girdle, and only getting movement at the ball and socket joint of the arm. Guys, this is better. You could give me 5 more. Some of you have lost your nice long sternums. If you could take them and send them long, that's better, Michelle, away from the pubic bone. So I have the longest version of the front of your spine possible. Hey, hey, hey. Now we're talking. Good job. And then pause with the foam roller halfway in the middle of the forearm. And we're going to tuck the toes and just hover the knees. So when we're hovering, knees maybe a centimetre or 2 away from the mat. So you want to keep them fairly low and down, because the lower they are to the floor, the easier it is to sit into the back of the hips and pelvis. All right, now I know you love me. This is a fun variation. Please don't lose the foam roller and smack your nose on the mat. We're going to take ourselves up onto our hands on the foam roller. And we're going to roll our foam roller, easier for you, as your foam roller rolls, all the way back up into our forward fold hang. Hell yes! Guys, well done. Bend the head, bend the knees, relax the head, neck and shoulders. It's like a circus trick. And then you can start to restack the spine and gently come all the way up to stand. So we should be in a position, actually now it's easier for me, lucky me, where you get to stand on top of your foam roller. So if balance is something that you know you're playing with, either take yourself to a wall or be close to one of the aerial loops that you can use the aerial loop for a little bit of assistance. But this is another one of those earthquake-proof building moments. I'm going to use the full foam roller so you know I'm not just having you on. Where if you try and do a rigid version of this movement, it's not going to work as well. So you want to be okay with the fact that your body's going to be in a state of flow and movement. And if you try and hold it rigid and still, it's not going to work as well as it could. So you've got to let the foam roller perturbate a little bit. Nice. Okay, a couple of things to watch out for. So ideally you don't have grippy toes. And hopefully when you got yourself on the foam roller, you brought yourself into a narrow enough stance so that your feet are hip distance apart. Good. And then when you're happy with this, we're going to start to bend the knees and begin to drop ourselves down into a little squat. And then as you exhale, we're going down, we're traveling all the way back up to standing. So this is that internal dialogue where you've got to be okay with letting the foam roller move. You're not going to keep the foam roller completely still. You want to let your feet and the 26 bones move as needed so that you can get your hips and knees over the top of your ankles. And then as you exhale, you're going to start to drive yourself all the way back up to stand. Well done. Inhale as you travel down. Let your feet move as needed so you can get the hips and the knees over the top of the ankles. And then exhale, start to drive yourself back up to stand. I'm going to let you do 2 more at your own pace. These are very nicely done, guys. We're doing excellent trusting of the moving foam roller. I feel like we could put an earthquake through this room and we wouldn't have a problem. Exhale as you drive yourself back to stand. Good job. And then you can step yourself off the foam roller. Let's make sure you're in front and you've got space, or you might just have to come forward a fraction. You've got space behind you to take your foam roller backwards. So I'll let you use the leg that you feel most comfortable with to start off with. So if you feel like you want to lift your right leg, or if you feel like you want to lift your left leg, whichever is your favored side, we'll go with that one first. So we're lifting, and maybe without looking, we're sending our leg behind us and making sure our foam roller is within contact. Now, back to kneading the dough, we're going to press down into the foam roller and try and roll the mat so that we have no wrinkles in our glide wrap mat. We inhale as we get to the bottom of the movement, and then as we exhale, we press down into the foam roller and glide the mat all the way back up to stand. Inhale on the way down. So there's quite a bit of downward pressure, almost as though you were releasing the muscles across the front of your shin. Exhale as you press down into the foam roller and drive yourself back to stand. Inhale, down, and then backwards. Exhale, still with a downward pressure as you drive the foam roller forward. Well done, one more on this side. Exhale, down to take the foam roller backwards. Exhale, down as you drive the foam roller forward. Amazing. Step that leg back in front, and we'll switch over to the other side. Giving yourself a little bit of grace, knowing that this may be the not so good side. We're going to press that foam roller down towards the mat and start to play with what range this leg is going to allow you to do. Down towards the foam roller, down towards the mat. And then as you exhale, with a downward pressure, drawing the foam roller all the way back up to stand. Good job. Exhale, downward pressure. Think of it as though you're releasing the muscles across the front of your shin. Exhale, still with a downward pressure, as you draw the foam roller back towards you. Last two. Well done, everybody. Yes, this is not easy. Good job. And then you can stand yourself back up on top of the mat. Grab your foam roller, and we're going to use it for our standing roll down. So you want to be at the back of the mat. Inhale, take your foam roller up towards the sky. Exhale, let the spine cascade down the front of the body. And take the foam roller with us. As the foam roller comes down towards the mat, we're going to roll the foam roller away and start to find that beautiful stretch through the back of the hamstrings. So the heels stay grounded, the head, neck and shoulders are long. We're almost in that same type of feeling as we were doing downward dog. Nice deep inhale here. And then exhale, begin to roll the foam roller back towards you. Let the tailbone tuck underneath you, and you can start to restack the spine. Foam roller can stay on the mat. Inhale, head, neck and shoulders come up towards. Exhale, head, neck and shoulders glide down the front of the body. Hands come onto the foam roller. And we start to elongate the spine as we roll the roller forward. We go as far forward as we can keep the backs of the heels connected to the mat. So there's again that opposition feeling where the heels are dropping down, but the sternum and the arms are staying long. Nice deep inhale. Exhale, we draw the foam roller back towards us as we start to restack the spine. Leave the roller on the floor. Head, neck and shoulders come up to stand. Good. Last one here. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, spine travels down the front of the torso. Start to press the foam roller away. Find that beautiful, long, almost like a standing downward dog type position, connecting through the four corners at the back of the heels, and using them as a stable base to work the sternum, the arms, the rib cage, the hamstrings away from. Nicely done. Exhale as you start to restack the spine, draw the foam roller all the way back towards you. Let the spine cascade up the top of the torso. Right, I have one final challenge for us before we finish off. So we'll all go the same way. We're going to transfer our weight onto our left leg. And just notice as you start to lift the right thigh bone, the four corners of the left heel and all the 5 toes of the left foot stay open and relaxed, not gripping into the back of the mat. Okay, our right toes are going to find the foam roller. We're going to start to roll the foam roller forward, and then exhale as we bring the foam roller back. Inhale as we roll the foam roller forward. Exhale as we bring the foam roller back. So I'm really doing 2 different things with my feet. My left leg is an open, stable, grounded foundation of the rest of my body. And my right foot is doing the best to be soft and mobile. So all the 26 bones of my foot can play on the foam roller. If you try and use your right foot like a grip, it's not going to move as freely and as fluidly. So you're having to split your brain. The left side of your body is strong and stable. The right side of your body, it's almost like it's just moving with the wind. Good job. Very nicely done. All right, I wasn't going to go here, but you can thank yourselves for this next edition. So our right foot is going to come to rest where the foam roller is in the arch of our foot. And we're going to transfer what's happening here. So now the right leg is the loaded leg. We're going to bend into that back left foot, and we're going to stay down in the hip and glute and bring that left leg up onto the foam roller. Yes, you guys have got it. And see if we can do the same thing in reverse. So the right leg is going to slowly come off the foam roller. Quickly, and travel its way back down towards the mat. Hoot, hooty, hoot, hoot. We have changed sides. So our right leg now comes down towards the floor. Give it a second to ground the four corners of the right heel and the 5 knuckles of the right foot. And then when that right leg feels strong and connected, we're going to start to take our left leg into the buoyant, fluid, flexy movement. Nice job. So that being able to split your mind from the left foot to the right foot is not always that easy. You guys did an excellent job of that. So you have one strong, grounded right leg, and you've got one fluid left leg just moving in the wind. And the more you can try and let go of the 26 bones of that left foot, the more freely that foam roller is going to feel like it can move. It's a funny place between just enough pressure into the foam roller to stay connected and not too much pressure into the foam roller that the foot becomes rigid. Right, we're going to try our weight transfer one more time. So we're bringing that foam roller underneath the arch of the left foot now. We're slowly bending and shifting the weight into the left leg. And then we're going to take our time as we start to bring the right foot up on top of the foam roller. Good job. You can bring yourself all the way up to stand when you're there. Nice deep inhale. Let the hands come up towards the ceiling. Still on the foam roller. And then as you exhale, we are. You can let the body start to cascade down the front of the torso. So this is a pretty massive challenge. If you feel like none of this is ridiculous, you can step off the foam roller to do your roll down. But there's some of you who are for sure able to do this. So we're going to start that standing roll down with the balance and being okay with the fact that the foam roller is going to perturbate in towards the floor. Hands will come down onto the mat when you get there. Well, magic finger wheel. Inhale. Exhale as you start to restack the spine. They do. Magic fingers are a winner. Spirit fingers. And then inhale, restack the rest of the spine. Can step off. We'll do a proper roll down to finish. That was very well done. Inhale, hands towards the sky. Exhale as you let the spine cascade down the front of the body. Give yourself a little mental pat on the back. There was some interesting work there this morning. It was very challenging and well done. Nice deep inhale into the back and side of the ribcage. And then you can exhale, let the spine start to restack itself. If you want to reach your hands up and over, give yourself a little pat on the back. You are free to enjoy your sunny Saturday. Well done. Bravo. Definitely calling Cirque du Soleil for you. I have you a recruit.